actually. So, high-class practice means keeping that in mind when you're in a tough situation, which we're all in the stressful and fast-paced world. So tonight I thought, one thing that really gets me is traffic, you know. So I said, I better leave early for the Plymouth Zen Center's 2nd anniversary. You don't want to be late. So I leave at 5 o'clock. And I put on the GPS. And now the GPS, and I have a terrible sense of direction. So the GPS is taking me around off through the middle of Quincy, going around in circles in the town. It's 5:40. I'm like, am I going to make it? I have no idea where I am. Starting to get irritated. Starting to get mad. Starting to wish things were other than they were, right? That's our life. In that very moment, thankfully for all the Zen practice, I reminded myself again, this is it, Jane. This is where you are. Everything just like this is Buddha. Take a breath. This is it. Anything you make up about where you wish you were, or that you wish these cars weren't here, or that you don't like your GPS, or whatever it is, doesn't matter. It's just not the way it is. So we had climbed into the moment. And that's high-class practice. That's everyday life practice. So that means when you're with somebody, 100% attention to them. Not like, you know, yeah, oh, really? Yeah. Good to see you. Not that style. 100%. Moment to moment to moment. Climb in. And then we're not planning for some other place where we are. You know, we all want to be infinite in time and space. We all feel the end of the summer. You know, the end of the summer I always get sort of nostalgic. It's like, it's like this juice of this life. You want to suck it. It's so sweet and so temporary. You want to keep it. You know, and sometimes you think, how can I keep it? I want to have it. It's going by too fast. My kids are already growing up. It's all fleeting by. I want to hang on to this. How do you do that? How do you get it? Just sink into the moment you're in. Just hear those crickets. And then there's no time, no space, nothing to get. You and the universe become one. That's Zen.
Unless you're late.
Pardon me?
Unless you're late.
If you're late, then I'm sorry. You know, I'm sorry. I'm late.
Just be late.
Yeah. So anything that comes along, mistake or not mistake, only make it correct. Make it correct. Make it correct. More questions? Yes.
How does the practice then keep you kind of in the moment? I mean, is it just because you let go your quiet time and you're not thinking?
Well, you know, when you find yourself out of the moment, you know, when you find yourself, for example, kind of maybe in your car. In your car is a great place to practice because that's a place where you can really get lost. But let's say you're getting up in the morning and you're just walking down the stairs to your kitchen or something. You could have the experience of 100% walking down your stairs and really being in each step, and you feel that floor on your feet, and you smell the morning air. Maybe you hear the sound of some kind of insects outside or whatever. You're in it. Or you can charge down the steps and already we're launching ahead into, like, I got to make the coffee, I got to get this here. That's what we all do. So practicing means when you see that you're doing that, that's just a habit. Just come back. What are you doing now? Just do it. Step. In this way, you're embracing the truth. You're living in the truth. You are in it. You are not constantly catapulting yourself out of it. You know. So it's very interesting.
So it's all the time? It's
Well,
not-
no, not at all. Here I am, the Zen master. I've done hard training, from here to Timbuktu. Retreats, months on end, many, many, many times. I am in the moment 1% of the time.
But your practice that maybe you do in the morning when you get up, or, your meditation.
Yeah.
It's not just that, because you are always trying to bring yourself back to.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a qualitative shift in consciousness when you live your life like this. It's unbelievable what the subtle, small changes. It's like not hard. It's not something you have to go to India to get or Korea to get or something. It means like when you pick up your coffee cup, like feel the handle in your hand. When you bring it to your mouth, just taste it. It's easy, small things like that. And when we climb into the micro, it's almost like you explode through to the macro. You get everything. In any moment, there's only a few things you can be doing. Seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking, feeling. That's all. Seeing sees. You don't see. Hearing hears. There's no I in it. So all we have to do is climb into the moment, and then we get everything. And then practicing means we're trying to increase the frequency of those moments. Yes.
I'm on a job, and the person's very nice. They're very messy, and they have these little 2-year-old daughters running around the house. And yesterday rained, so I was inside, and I said, "Would you like me to help you clean your kitchen floor?" Because I was sticking to it, so I did. And she was cool. We washed, the little kids and I all washed the floor and the counters and the table. And then I went in today and stuff all over the floor. And I'm the type of person that wants to sweep it up all the time. And I had to stop, and I just realized, the analogy in my head was that if you wash a dog, it goes and rolls in the dirt. It doesn't matter how many times I clean the floor, it will be dirty. It's my attachment to cleanliness that I have to get over. And it was really hard, but I don't think I would have cleaned it again had I not had I not sat. But you get attached to these things the way you want them to be.
Yeah, it's true.
It's really hard to let it go sometimes.
Right. Kids are good at that. They teach us how not to attach to our idea. I've got this son who's a wild man. He's just absolutely wild spirit, And I expect him to be sitting in his desk at school like this. He's not. And no matter what my mind wants him to do about that, he is who he is. And so he's like my great teacher. I bow before him. Because you have to let go of your idea. Always in life we have this chance, whether any age, any place, of letting go of our opinion, our condition, our situation, and finding correct situation, relationship, function. If that's your house, you can clean the floor as much as you want, but somebody else's house, maybe not so much. You can come to my house anytime. Yeah.
The thing, you bring up the children, I've got 2 children of my own, and it's the thing about being in the moment, is my daughter teaches me that all the time, because I had reprimanded her for something one day, let's say it was Tuesday, whatever day it was, doesn't really matter, but I had reprimanded her for doing something, and then the next day I felt bad for reprimanding her the way that I did, so I apologized to her, and she was like, "Yeah, whatever, Dad. That was yesterday." You know what I mean? And I was like, "Yeah, no shit." So I'm like, "Yeah, that was yesterday." And she just moved on. She didn't even really think about it. You know what I mean? So to me, I'm like, I see that innocence, and to be able, for them to just be in the moment right then and there is just all the time. And I feel bad having to give them rules and guide them certain ways and things like that, because I feel like they should just be able to stay like that forever. I know they can't.
Yeah. And on some level, she's appreciative that you said you were sorry. of
Sure,
course.
yeah, definitely.
So that was a good thing to do. You know. You know, there's an old saying: before the donkey has left, the horse has already arrived. In these Chinese poems, they say these cool things, and then you get the reputation for being esoteric. You know, but you know, when I first heard that, I thought, what the heck is that? And you guys just spit it out, you know, like. No, but it's like the horse represents this perfect, you know, more elegant form of yourself that you want to become, you know, this enlightenment person. And the donkey is like who you think you are. And we think if we practice that, the donkey's got to leave before the horse comes in, you know, so that if we try, then this old donkey, all this, that just, oh, that's not very attractive, is going to be gone, and then the stallion comes. But actually, that horse has already arrived. You know, it's all like together. So I always find great wisdom in our imperfections, and teaching from our imperfections, and from the little things in our life that we can just look at that different way, where your child or your coworker, you know, your biggest enemy at work or on your street or in your family is your best teacher. My teacher used to say that to me all the time. He was like, you should bow to that person. Because that's better than any sutra. You know? They're showing us where we're stuck. Yes?
I just don't understand that. Could you explain that
Yeah.
in another way that I maybe could understand? How
Yeah.
can your worst enemy be your best teacher? I don't get it.
You know, as long as you have opposites, right? That you have this same and this different and this I and other, then you have this friend and enemy style. If you're not holding on to I, then you can't have an enemy. You cannot. It's not possible. So, this enemy is teaching us where we're stuck. I'll give you an example. Let's pretend you have, I don't know, a coworker, or the example that I remember with my teacher was in my youth of all the drama of the relationships and the, oh my God, I love him and he's left me, and this kind of stuff, right, when you're young. So I had this experience when I was young of this young man that I thought I loved madly, and he really was like a kind of a tough cookie type of guy. And he did a number of things that were not so nice, and yet I still just loved him, you know? And then finally, he was like, I'm leaving you, goodbye. And I was so upset. And I would sit, I was already a Zen student for a long time, actually, at this point, because I started practicing when I was very young. So I'd sit, and then I went to my teacher one day, Sansanim, and I'm crying, you know, and I'm like, but he did this and he did that. And of course, all my reasons were right. I mean, on a self-righteous from that point of view, I was right. But a lot of good it did me, right? So, and I'm like, and this and that, and he just looked at me. He shakes his head and he goes, listen to me. He said, you are my student. Why holding? Why holding? And in that moment,